in, and I'm here to help you with whatever problem you have today. I just want to let you know this is a very safe environment, and whatever you can say whatever you would like today, and everything will be confidential unless it's something you're planning on hurting yourself. Then I will have to share that with someone else.
So I've just been stressed out lately at my job. I work in a school and I work with a sixth grader, and she is blind and autistic. And I worked with her last year, and it seemed easier last year for some reason. And I think it's because she saw more specialists last year, so I had more of a break. And this year I'm for the most part with her for the entire 7 or 8 hours of the school day. And she's a great kid, but she can be very exasperating. Like, she never stops talking. It's always whining. It's always no, just constant. And so sometimes I just feel like so frustrated and I just need a break.
Oh, man, okay. Wow, why exactly did it seem so much easier? Is it because it was your first year and you were getting adjusted to her? But you did also mention she saw more specialists then. Mm-hmm. Why is it that she is not seeing as many specialists this year? What's the difference versus last year and this year?
Well, she saw a couple specialists that she doesn't see this year, like physical therapy, because they decided she was good. She didn't need those anymore. So that's some of the services. Okay. And then she has a special education teacher, but this special education teacher has a much larger caseload this year, so she can't spend as much time working with her. Okay. So I'm, for the most part, with her. It probably is partially because I was with her for the first time last year, and now that it's just been, a while, maybe I'm feeling more burnt out. I'm not sure.
And maybe they're thinking you're more comfortable, like you have reached the point where you can handle her yourself. But as you don't want to be burnt out. So, not saying that you tell someone like, "Hey, you all need to take this load off for me," because that is your job. Mm-hmm. But is there like any activities you try to do for like relaxation, like when you get home?
Mm-hmm. I like to work out, so I work out when I get home, and I feel like that's a big stress reliever. Okay. Sometimes when I am at school with her, I just try to take some deep breaths because I don't ever want to say something to her that's either mean or crossing the professional line. And I just don't want her to see that I'm frustrated, because they recommend that you don't show the child that you're frustrated with them. I just don't know if I should ask people to give me a little bit of a break, or I don't know if I should express that I'm feeling frustrated. I just don't know what I should do.
Yeah, well, definitely, I definitely commend you for not taking your frustration out on her, because I could definitely understand how that can be. But for stress relievers and relaxation, I definitely think that you need to relax as much as you can. And on your off days, you don't take school home. Like, go to the gym as much as possible, relax. And as for, I would say, if you can, your supervisor or whoever's in charge, the principal or so, you can express I don't want to call it a problem, but just your stress level. You don't want it to get out of control. Mm-hmm. So if you can express that to the principal and let them know, like, hey, this is becoming a lot on me. Not saying I'm not capable of doing my job, but I kind of probably need like a backup where she can see as many specialists as before. Mm-hmm. I know she is above the level of like the physical therapy and so forth, but I kind of need that half and half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just feel sometimes like I leave there and my head is pounding and I feel like my head is gonna explode. And I didn't have this last year, but I just do have moments sometimes where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like, how do they expect me to work with her? Because other adults in the building, they tell me all the time, every day, I don't know how you do it. I could not be with her all day long. And so that's nice that they realize that she's difficult, but then it's like, well, why don't I get more of a break?
Break, right.
I get about a 20-minute break for lunch, and then, but if something happens when she's at lunch, then I have to leave my lunch and go deal with that. And it's frustrating, and I'm not used to being like frustrated over things. I usually can just deal with it.
Okay, and again, I would definitely say I do commend you for this, and I'm going to stress relaxation as much as I can. Like, what else? What are other activities do you like to do other than working out?
I like to hang out with my fiance, my dogs, and my friends. Like to read, um, TV, of course, eating, just things like that.
Yeah, so if you can give yourself at least every day after work, you need to give yourself that 1 hour for relaxation because as you can see, it's much needed. You want to be able to get out of work. You may be frustrated, angry. Take a walk with the dog. Hang out with your fiance. Take a deep breath. One, two, three.
Mm-hmm.
Inhale, exhale. Just got to get it all out. And also, I do want to say you should try and reach out to the principal, but in a professional way. You're not walking there saying, I can't take this anymore. I don't want to do this. You need to find someone else. That's not what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. What if you were supposed to go to the principal, how would you address that situation?
I would probably say, Mr. Seitz, I just wanted to speak with you. I feel like I'm growing a little more frustrated working with Lexi this year than I was last year. I feel like my frustrations are building because I'm with her constantly and she can be exasperating, and I got more breaks last year to take a couple breaths. What do you recommend I do in this situation? Because I really like working here, I like all the people here, and I appreciate my job. So what can you recommend that I can do to kind of make this seem less frustrating to me?
Okay, I like that. Good. And he should definitely, have a good response coming back to you because what you're saying is very professional and you're addressing the matter that's presented in the school. And as for Lexi, I understand her situation is that she's blind and she's autistic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what kind of activities do you all do throughout the day that makes you so frustrated, that makes you feel like, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore?
It's not even what activity we're doing, it's just the way she is. Like, we can be doing the most fun activity and she will make it frustrating because if we're drawing a picture, she wants 2 pieces of paper instead of 1. And then I give her 2 markers and she wants 4 more markers. And then if I give her that or don't give her that, it's a lot huger reaction if I don't give it to her. But and then if I did give her the markers, then it's like, well, but I didn't want these colors. So any little thing that we do, it's just there's something to complain and whine about. Like, I cannot describe her to you unless you met her. She is just.
Okay. Is there anyone there to discipline Lexi? Does she have like a disciplinary dean or someone who she goes to see if she's acting out of line?
No, for the most part, her behavior person that works in the school system says that we shouldn't punish her, and instead we should just redirect and move on to the next thing in the schedule. We at the school don't feel like those people understand because they don't come and work with them, and they don't understand that you can't just redirect them sometimes. They'll still be screaming for an hour. So it's very frustrating. This feels like there's no solution sometimes.
Yeah, which is that not so much when you use the word punishment, like to say, oh, we're punishing her, even though punishment could just be, doesn't mean that she has to be scolded or be put in time out or anything, but just letting her know, like, Lexi, you're not just, so you're making your, what are you to her assistant? Mm-hmm. You're making your assistant frustrated, but I'm pretty sure she's also disrupting the class as well, right? Mm-hmm. And everyone gets frustrated, and that just makes it, I can only imagine how chaotic that is. Mm-hmm. So after speaking with the principal, I really, not saying I really hope, I'm sure he'll give you a very good response to the situation. And the specialist that if she's above the level of seeing those specialists, Lexi do need some kind of, I don't want to say, she needs some kind of disciplinary actions being placed because it's not fair to you to be frustrated leaving work. And do you sometimes take your problems home from work?
I try to leave it at the door because everyone says you're just an educational assistant, you shouldn't have to go home and worry about this, you shouldn't have work when you get home. But sometimes it is frustrating and I think about it when I get home. I try not to, but sometimes it's frustrating and I just think at home like,
Yeah, it's just okay. But that relaxation is much needed. Those are the two things we're gonna have to keep track of, and your relaxation and the disciplining actions for Lexi.
And I try to keep in mind that um, this job is preparing me for what I want to do in the future. It's teaching me patience, and it's teaching me that I have to work with all types of kids, and she's probably one of the more extreme kids, so hopefully that will enable me to work with other difficult kids in the future. And I also try to remind myself that the job gets out at 3 o'clock. I could work till 5 like most people, and it's giving me experience in the school system, and there's a lot of great people I work with, so I try to remind myself of the positive things.
Okay.
And
What exactly do you want to do in the future?
A school counselor.
Wow, it's amazing. Yeah, well, blind and autistic, it's more, I wouldn't call it more on the extreme end, but being a school counselor, you deal with a lot of caseload. So, like you said, you have the patient and the time, and being an education assistant is like, that's a good route to get you in where you need to be. And I definitely like the fact that you said you try to leave work at work and not take it home with you, because home, relaxation. When we think of home, we're thinking for relaxing. Work, we understand the frustration, but the more relaxation you get in and put it out, hopefully and eventually one day, work will no longer become so frustrated because you can think about relaxation. Like, I'm just going to relax. And even on your 20-minute lunch break, maybe sometimes you can, no, you can't go jog around the school or anything, but do you like listening to music? Sometimes music can be relaxing.
No, I mostly just talk with my coworkers, which does help.
Okay.
I mean, because they're teachers, so they understand that kids are frustrating, and so I like talking to them at lunch.
Okay. That's my, I know definitely for our next time we meet, I want you to let me know. You have to keep track on Monday through Sunday, relaxation, an hour. And I want you to let me know how that makes you feel. Like, after just knowing at the end of the day, I'm going home to relax, not say, still gonna do everything I do for Lexi, nothing's gonna change. Because you don't ever want to take your frustration out on you. So I can't stress that enough. How I commend you so much for doing it. Never take, it may be so frustrated. Do you have any other assistant that works along with her, or it's just you and her?
It's just me and her.
Okay.
She's in a classroom, but the teacher teaches the whole class, and usually she's doing different work. So I kind of feel like I'm teaching her different work and still only getting paid as an EA, which is also frustrating. But
yeah, so like, what kind of different work? So, for example, they're teaching like addition. So do you not teach her addition? You have to teach her addition on your own.
Yeah, or a completely different math topic. Like, the teacher will tell me what to do, but then I'm the one actually teaching it, and that's why it's frustrating, because I feel like I'm teaching. I feel like I'm a special ed teacher, but I'm getting paid. Yeah.
Also, another. Are they aware of this? Like, the principal, is he aware of the situation?
I think it's hard to say. I sometimes think maybe they do know, but then I sometimes think they are just so high up and overseeing so many people that maybe they don't realize.
Okay. Do Lexi have someone who she goes and reports to, like her, did she have a counselor?
She goes and sees a school counselor once a week. Okay. But she's pretty much just with me all day, going to her different classes.
How is that when she sees her school counselor?
She loves it. She loves going to see her school counselor. He's like her favorite person.
Do you get to sit in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, that's pretty confidential. But I'm going to stress, like, the next time we meet, I want you to come in, stress your relaxation, telling me how much you relaxed, and we also want to do a follow-up on how that went with the principal.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions or anything today?
I don't think so. Thank you for all of your help, and I will see you next time.
Okay, and I hope I was very helpful for you.
You were
today.
very helpful to me. Okay. Thank you.
It's nice to meet you, Miss Warren.
Me too.
Okay.